salad from AdCon. I've got like this was probably one of the coolest things. Like the cards that are inside of this, I got this from Kyle's Comics. Like the cards are these reprints. They had the original cards that came out in the '60s, and they reprinted them in the '90s. And these things are in amazing shape, right? So these Batman cards, I don't know if you can tell because of the glare, but they also have, I've been kind of reading through these where you have like the description on the back of each card type of deal. But what's really cool is this freaking wraparound binder. Check that thing out, man.
That's badass. So who'd you get that from? Because I missed that. I myself missed that. Who'd you get it from?
I think this was Kyle's Comics, but I bought so much stuff from so many different vendors. I'm not absolutely positive. So the chat will correct me if I was,
That's
if
cool.
I was
yeah,
wrong.
And I was on my secret travel to Bronze Age Batcave to do that in person while that sale was going on. So that's probably why I missed it. That's awesome.
And Yakuza Doc will probably like this, the guy that's got everything Star Trek. But I also picked this up from Kyle's Comics. You guys know that I've been correcting those Power Records sets with a record and comic book deal. Now, this is another one of those book and record sets. Check out the old gang. I just remember this show, man. When I would get out of school at 3:10, I would haul ass home to make it home by 4 o'clock to watch Star Trek every day.
Star Trek.
Because I'm freaking old, bro. I'm old, man.
So with that in mind, so are you Trekker or Star Wars? Which do you prefer?
I never got into like collecting. I wouldn't say I'm like a Trekkie or anything like that, but there's different things that people talk about reminds them of their youth growing up. And this is one of those things for me, like this show. And, I'm not like a big starstruck guy. I'm not out, I'm not standing in line to get Shatner's autograph or anything, although that's super dope. I just never met the dude, but this stuff to me, when I see it hanging out on the shelf in the office, it just brings me right back to that show. So, I don't know. I mean, there's also stuff like this that I picked up during AtCon, some of these Star Wars treasuries that are in ridiculously good shape. And I like the treasury game. Does anybody know CGC slabbing these things yet, or is it just the magazines?
No, that's not. I don't even think that's close. I could be wrong. I mean, Matt did not mention that. He just said it's something they want to do one day. So
the back of number 2 is as good as the front.
All right. Well, those are some good goodies there. Let's spread the love a bit. Max joins us. Are you wearing suspenders? Are those suspenders?
Yeah, I didn't have time to change yet. Yes.
All right. You gotta wear suspenders with the V-neck sometimes too. Go ahead.
What I was trying to say is Patrick's accolades now exceed your list. He's also the season 1 champ, right, of the Collector Showdown. So you should announce that.
That is right. How does that work, Patrick? By the way, on Dom's show, like, do you just catapult to the championship match, or do you got to earn your way back up, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I have to go all the way back through again against these savages. And actually, this guy is in my bracket. So if I want to go to the championship, me and Max will undoubtedly face off.
And Max, since we're talking AtCon, the winner of the first ever Elite Award for the biggest claim. So that was a heck of a moment too, Max. So congrats on your pickup.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun because it was actually like 5 a.m. local time. I was in the UK for work, and of course you guys were going late into the night. So it was fun to have a back and forth with Travis at 1 a.m.
Yeah, that was quite the moment, man. That was cool to be part of.
And then since Rob said some nice words, he was obviously a huge part of AtCon also, right? I've been tuning into his show. I know
not him.
Not
him.
Oh, sorry.
I don't even know if he was back.
Some other guy that looks a lot like him.
Carmine.
Guy that looks a lot like him. So appreciate for him and his twin brother for all the help. All right, so I have 2 things I wanted to show you guys. One is from AtCon. One is not from AtCon. the one from AtCon comes from our community friend, super nice guy, Richie Buxo. You know, I bought this. If you look, you might remember this one.
Yeah.
Signed by Mr. Mike Tyson. You know, he had a few of these. It's authenticated in the corner, and I grew up, you know, when my family's from the Soviet Union, and I'm a first generation, you know, American, and my grandparents could not speak any English, so my grandfather and I sort of bonded. He loved boxing, and we would just sit there and watch boxing, and he loved Tyson, and who didn't? So, you know, it's sort of like just a cool little, you know, token or whatever, and to have something signed by him and video game related, I appreciate that. So this was from Richie Buxo.
So Rob was just talking about the Star Wars stuff, about his childhood. I mean, Star Trek, sorry. But, yeah, Mike Tyson Punch-Out, big part of my own childhood. Sounds like yours too, Max. That's cool that you shared that with him.
Yeah. So that's the first item, and then I can move on to the second item, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Max, are you gonna get that framed? Max, are you going to, like, get that framed or display it somehow? How are you going to display it?
I actually just got it, I think, yesterday. I have not given a lot of thought to it. I am trying to put together, like, I'm hopefully getting a new office at work, and I'm trying to put together, like, a little bit of an exhibit there. So, you know, maybe this will find its way onto the wall over there. You know, just something cool that people can see or look at. So
it's going to be hard to find somebody that doesn't think that's awesome.
So that's the first thing, and then the next thing I think is really cool. I wasn't, because when you asked me earlier if I had something to unbox, I was like, I don't know. And then I remembered in the chat you wrote, or collectibles that you purchased that you want to share. And I actually did end up buying a collectible from Heritage. It's probably been like a couple months, but I just never got around to opening the box. And it's really cool because it's not sort of, you know, exactly what we normally buy, which is comic books. So let me show you this thing. So Heritage, you know, when you spend a lot of money, I'm sure Patrick knows, they start inviting you to like every single one of their auctions, regardless of whether or not it's comic related. So they invite you to music auctions, they invite you to, you know, other auctions. And one of the auctions that I started to like participate in is the movie memorabilia auctions. So I bought this box, and one of my favorite movies growing up when I was a kid, again, I'm a little bit younger than the 3 or 4 of you who are on the screen. And one of my favorite movies
that's pretty personal. It's pretty personal and specific.
Was Batman, the Batman movies, but more specifically, I really love Jim Carrey because I kind of grew up in the mid-90s, and I loved, you know, Dumb and Dumber. I loved Liar Liar, and I most loved Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And when he was cast as the Riddler in Batman, that became my like absolute favorite, you know, villain at the time, and I just loved seeing Jim Carrey on screen. And when I was a little kid, for like school or elementary school or whatever, I loved that movie so much that I actually, like his like riddles and traps, I actually recreated them like with cardboard or whatever, and tried to like do the same riddles and have it open in the same way that he did in the movie. And I was really stoked because one of the things that went up for sale for this, you know, Heritage auction was actually this little guy, which is a little bat bomb that is the actual prop that they used in the movie. And, you know, it's just kind of like one of those things where it's just like, you know, again, I grew up remaking literally the little pieces with the guy's tongue falling out and the riddle with the magazine. I would cut it out and try to make it look exactly like that.
Okay, but this is all like, you know, this is all, you know, not real traps on real people.
No. This is obviously a little bit of fun.
All right, just confirming.
So anyway, this is the actual bat.
Allegedly.
Like, you know, the prop that he used, the riddle bat that was sort of, there was also a pair that Batman used, but I never thought it was cool. So I got this one instead. It cost an arm and a leg, overpaid, but it's kind of one of those things that I'll put into the office and people will be like, what is that? So you see
So
it has
that
the question mark.
that's a prop from which movie again? The Jim Carrey?
Batman Forever. Yeah,
Nice.
Batman Forever. So, you see?
Cool. It almost looks like it's out of
All right.
South Park or something.
Well,
So I almost bid on that item right there because it is fucking cool, even though I hated that Batman movie so much. That
Who
probably
played
was
Two-Face
amazing.
in that movie? It's
Uh,
like Jim Carrey.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes. Tommy
Yes.
Lee Jones
Tommy Lee Jones.
hated working with Jim Carrey because of all of his improv. And I remember Jim Carrey all this many years ago had a big bite back on him that basically that he just couldn't handle, what was going on set and was completely uncomfortable and out of his element because Jim Carrey was at the top of his game then. I love all those movies you were just referencing. By the way, Heritage for some reason doesn't send me anything about their upcoming auctions. That's weird.
I could make a
Yeah,
furniture out of the catalog.
I actually tuned into a sale the other day and people were selling them. So you can actually resell them, Patrick.
This is what I get from Heritage. Right, I get a letter from Heritage telling me that they've hired somebody new. You guys get cool stuff and get invited.
Well, I got that.
The cool
also,
shit. And I get
big.
a letter like I'm a tax preparer. No offense to tax preparers, but I mean they send me this to let me know this guy was just hired at Heritage, and you guys get cool invites.
That's
I got the same
interesting.
thing. I got the same thing, and it was a joke.
All right. He still feels.
They
So
think you might relate.
I'm ironically behind. I get cool things in all the time. A lot of them, honestly, are just really thoughtful gifts. Also, so I'm just trying to catch up a little bit. So I don't have a ton to show, but I do have some really cool things that mean a lot to me. And since you're here, Max, here's an example of something I haven't shown. I don't think so. This is Mickey Mouse Magazine #3. It's Mickey and football, two of my favorite things. And Max actually sent me this as a gift. It's from 1935. Mickey Mouse Magazine #3, a 5.0 with white pages, Max. So, I told you thank you when it came in, but I thought, I should share this because, what a gift, but what a book, piece of history here. It means a lot to me, Max. Thank you. So,
yeah, of course. You're a great friend, and we talk every day, and I appreciate you and our friendship. And I knew that you would appreciate that gift. And 1935 white pages, that's pretty ridiculous. So I thought that you would like that.
It was perfect, man. Mickey, football, sign me up. Another one of our friends I want to give a proper thank you to. I don't know if he's here. Anthony. He's the one. He sent me this. He knows I love Spider-Man. He sent me this sealed Mego Spider-Man. Just check out this box art, man. I didn't even know this existed, but this thing's still sealed, and he just sent me this just because he knows I like Spider-Man, and he had it. I don't know how he got it, but Anthony, if you're watching or watch this later, I've told you thank you, but. That's a heck of a gift.
Which is it? Our Anthony? Which Anthony? People don't know.
Yeah, Vigilante and Villains Anthony.
Yeah,
That thing's in
Yeah, he
great
sent me
shape too, Ollie.
Yeah.
That thing
And
looks
let me ask you guys: have you guys ever sent toys in for grading? I honestly haven't done that.
Yes.
And
I sent toys in.
I'll just admit, I just can't figure out how to fill out the form. No, just
You mean the value part?
there's this form you got to print out, and it's not I don't think there's an online form. You just got to actually do it old school, and I don't know. I've tried to do it a few times, and I'm just like, how does the Turtles battle wagon fit into this or whatever? So, Max, I'm gonna pick your brain.
Yeah, so it's as you might guess, the way I went about it was I asked one of my friends to do it for me, and he also couldn't figure it out, and it took a bunch of phone calls, thankfully, that I didn't have to make. But I will tell you the one thing that I do know is that I bought that. I also like Turtles like everybody else, but I bought the figurine that was the Black Shredder. It's like a rare figure or something like that. And I sent it in. It's been over a year, and they have not sent it back to me.
Yeah, it takes.
So
I heard it takes a long time. So I'm actually considering maybe even just getting like the case, like the case they put the graded things in, and just kind of not grading it, because I heard some crazy times. All right, one more thing I want to share before we kind of see what else you guys got. This is just
what do they base the grading on? Like when they grade it, is it the condition of the packaging?
so I bought
if it's sealed.
Depends on if it's sealed or not.
So I bought this guy from our friend Anthony, who Ali just mentioned a while back, and it's graded by AFA, and this is like the Wonder Bread He-Man or something like that. And you see this is a loose figure, right? So they grade based on, again, if it's sealed, I think, I'm no expert, but if it's sealed in a bubble, they grade based on how the bubble looks, how the case looks, how the back looks, if the bubble is yellow, if it's not, if there's glue, if there's been restoration on it, all that kind of stuff. When it's a loose figure, they make these kinds of like cases for them, and then they change them from time to time. Like the newer versions of this case have the weapons sort of so that they can't jump around or jiggle around. This one doesn't. They grade out of 100. This is like an 85. They also have a second sort of like page quality grade, I think. Like it says 85 NM plus. I don't know. But for loose figures, I think they look at, whether it's broken, obviously, how the paint looks, if there's any chips on it, if there's any fading on any of the on the color or anything like that. So
I like that.
that's cool. So what I wanted to share is, Richie Buxo's like a regular elite vendor. I always constantly have to watch things sell that I want myself, but that's part of the thing, and that's great to see people getting things they love. I know Patrick gets a good amount from him, because I don't blame you, Patrick. But one thing I did I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got the inside track on, is people know I love Braveheart. It's my favorite movie. This is like the press guide, so they sent out this pamphlet to basically different media before the movie came out. So there's like this booklet, and I'd never seen one of these, so I got that from Richie. But one cool thing, Max, and you'll appreciate this, it came with these like slides of like scenes from the movie, and I don't think my lighting's best so you can see these, but they're like old school slides. And if you think about it, when this was going on, this movie came out in 1993, Max, we didn't have the internet. So if you wanted to send people some photos, you didn't want to this was a way to basically get them out there so that the news could do what it wanted with it, put it in a magazine or whatever. You actually had to physically send it. So different time, Max.
Yeah, thank you for that little bit of history.
Well, since you call those old as shit a few minutes ago.
Say that old as shit.
We had walk around with chains because we used a payphone and shit like that. I mean, it was crazy. We read newspapers. I mean,
Braveheart won Best Picture. I know that.
Yeah, dude. All right, Pat, do you have anything else you want to share?
Yeah, so I finally got everything open. I did want to just mention one thing. Max was born after Mike Tyson retired, so he was watching replays of the fights with his grandpa.
Factually accurate, Max. Those were reruns.
I remember when I watched the Holyfield fight. We used to jack the pay-per-views, and we sat around the TV.
Dude, I was 10 during that fight when he bit off his ear. So how old are you?
So wait, were you born in 1993, Max?
All right.
No, I was born in the late 80s.
Oh, okay. So you were okay.
He was a scary dude, man.
I want to fact check.
He was a scary dude when he walked in. Before those Holyfield fights, he was, man. I remember those. My dad used to go to live boxing in Tampa, and so he was a huge boxing fan, which meant I had to be a huge boxing fan. And I remember seeing Cornelius Boza Edwards and John the Beast Mugabe and other ones there live in Tampa. But I also remember Tyson when he was coming up, and he was you were paying attention in the first minute of a fight because it might not last long. He was a stone cold assassin.
Just so that we're clear, I started paying attention
Yeah.
in the second half of Tyson's career, and Tyson versus Holyfield 2 was actually in June of 1997. So yes, I was alive in June of 1997.
To this guy in the 90s, forget it.
Dude, there are worse things to get harassed about than being young,
They say-
Max. Just shut up
they
and
keep
say your
telling me
papers
that
were
I'm
falsified.
never gonna die.
And
You're
you're-
so young. Yeah, all these things.
That's Max. That wasn't an age joke.
So, I forgot how emotional I was feeling during the Cloud9 sale at AtCon. And I saved all the people nobody wanted. Poor Pierre. I got the poor guy that got
You
left
had
at the
a
dock.
you had a sad story about the guy. Was that even real, or were you just rambling? Was there something with that cover that the guy's in the water? You just made that shit up?
Yeah, it's not real.
You thought he read that?
Yeah, he said something about he was telling a sad story about the guy, and I thought it was like based on some true story or something, and it was all bullshit.
No, I just don't know how to get a better discount from a vegan. I thought like a story would help me. So, and then this is the Michael Jackson cover. Ken didn't see it, but I thought, man,
I remember we
this
were
gives me
looking for
Thriller
that. You
vibes.
kept saying Thriller, and then that cover, they finally found it.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
I tell you what,
We're gonna
do we
hang
have
out to the
time?
top of the hour.
All right. So if anybody watched the competition, and Travis, if you're here right now, I'm gonna bash you a little. So like, Travis showed a pulp during his competition the other day, and God love Travis. He says, I don't know what people are gonna like, and then he shows a fairly generic pulp and gets his ass handed to him by a great Spider-Man book, right? So I had to tell him that maybe it was a bad decision. Well, like, but if you pull pulps like this that are actually they predate Marvel Comics, and you've got girls in tubes and mad crazy scientists, you might have a chance. So I got a couple. Our friend Lee Polanski, who has been on Elite before selling, he gave me some great.
Dude, look at that
pulps,
guy in the background. Look at his.
and they're just
He's got a mouthful of chiclets. His teeth are all jacked up. No, the other guy. Right. Yeah,
This guy.
there you go.
Yeah, and so that's
Yeah,
a
so,
severed
like-
head, and the other guy's carrying. Okay, yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah, that's been chopped off already. And then this last one, they kind of almost go together
That's
because
pretty
this one
creepy.
has no head,
Right.
and then the head is
Oh,
over
wow.
here, and it's the same series. But Lee consistently finds me like harrowing, crazy pulps that I just love, and you won't probably see him again. And so, I love you, Travis. You just picked the wrong one. Next, I want to talk about one of your vendors and a guy who does a lot of stuff in the community, Dom at Gotham Comics. If you watch the sale with Dom sold me these two books. First print of the Pro, the variant, which is super hard to find. These are square bound. These are in beautiful condition. I made him an offer on them because I misunderstood the price and it was a shitty offer. And he took it. And then he sold me this stuff too.
Yeah.
This lovely book, which I will probably use in a competition. So the cool thing about Dom is that, he's super reasonable when he comes to office. He sent me this. This
This
is,
is
a local
Gotham
artist, his
Comics
town.
with an X
He
at
sent
the
me
end,
this
you
too.
guys. This is Dom. He puts on the collector showcase competition or showdown.
Yeah, so Dom is currently proctoring the Collectors Showcase Competition Season 2. When Dom reached out to me about these comic books, he asked me for my address. And I told him my address, and I said, Dom, but I didn't pay you yet. And he said, you do a lot for everybody. These ones are on me, man. I love you. And he just sent them to me. Like I said, there are so many amazing people in this community. You know, some of them are right here on screen with us right now, all four of us. I'll even toot my own horn for this one. But guys, get to know some of the people in this community. If they ask you a question or if they seem like they have similar interests, talk to them a little bit. You might find a friend. And, you know, I'm not saying you need friends, but some of us are really fucking weird with our interests. So it's cool to, like, talk to people that look at a book and go, man, that's cool. Dude, you're weird.
Or a toy. Or a
toy. Yeah, or a movie, or all this shit that we have. We all have so many dumb items that are valuable to us, but most people misunderstand. So thank you, Dom, if you're watching. If you're not, I'll send you a thank you again later. But thank you, Ali, for helping me meet all these people.
It's just them. I'm myself. It's like, you know, just there's new people here and there, and then there's the people that go back, and just kind of seeing. I mean, I'm used to having a scattered life, honestly. Just tons of weird things in my background. You know, I'm half and half. You know, I have different careers and all that stuff. But I mean, I'm even impressed of like how many different people from different walks of life like this brings together like on a daily basis. And I obviously know an incredible amount of people that I met through this. And I'm just shocked every day that, like, wow, is this real? Like, really? All these people coming together on a daily basis with all these different interests and backgrounds. And I think one thing, Pat, I mean, you earned that award at AtCon, but, you know, and shout out to Ilson, who, you know, he won the best snipe award at AtCon, but it actually kind of is a dark mark in some way, because I thought that we were going to actually have a lot of snipers at AtCon, but for the most part, there was this overarching just feel of like community and camaraderie, and like people were more likely to actually give up a claim to someone else who missed it than want to snipe it. So I guess that's a backhanded compliment to Ilson. And I see Dom's here. Dom, we just were talking about what you did for Patrick. That was awesome.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I wanted to publicly say thank you. I know I thanked you privately, but you're the man, dude. Seriously. In those pro books, like, side story, I regrettably sold on Elite my hard copy bound, signed by Garth Ennis version of that book. It's one of my favorite Garth Ennis's. And so when you put them up, I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
Well, speaking of scattered, Elite, probably the only place where such a heartfelt story about Dom can kind of start with a comic book series based on a prostitute. All right. Good. Rob, do you have anything else you want to share?
Just probably one of the. I'm just in Hartford, Connecticut. Y'all know
I think you're breaking up a bit. I don't know if are you guys seeing him breaking up too, or can you see him okay?
Mm-hmm.
You want to try to reconnect with us, Rob?
My little picture.
Try that. Try to get yourself reconnected. Max, are you just sharing what you shared, or do you have anything else?
No, I can show you two more little things. I just want to say two quick things. One is, you know, Patrick won the community award, but Patrick is always generous, and he doesn't wait to just act on. He does that year round, irrespective of what the event is. So
100%.
His generosity isn't because of AtCon or only during AtCon. It's actually sort of like if I had to award year-long award, he would have won that award too. So Patrick, thank you for being kind. And I know that there's a lot of people obviously that you know that helps a lot to your generosity, and that might not be able to get the books that, you know, without that push, and you get them there. So that's really remarkable and nice of you. All right, so I got another thing, and I think this is also for Richie. So one of my when I was in college, my roommate and I would go to the gym all the time, and we both looked up to Arnold Schwarzenegger. And one of our movies that we like to watch and sort of try to like imitate was, of course, Predator. So I bought this poster. And you know, we would go up to each other and, you know, kind of have that like handshake and be like, "Oh yeah, you son of a bitch," you know. And so when he had the poster up, I thought it was cool. And if I ever have a place that's big enough where I can put posters on the walls in some kind of man cave, I would certainly add this. You know, I'm biased. I've seen a few of the Predators, but I think far and away the original Predator is really, you know, the best, and kind of got that lightning in a bottle little feel, you know. So this is another poster that I picked up, you know, from our event recently.
Cool. And Rob, I'm trying to get you back in, man, but there's been this glitch where if you hop out and, you know, sometimes it's not letting me add people back in. So I think you kind of fell victim to that, Rob. So I see your request, but I don't think you're going to be able to come back on this stream because we're going to wrap things up soon. But Rob, we did appreciate you sharing what you had. And that's a heck of a poster, Max. Who was your friend that you did the handshake with?
One of my friends in college.
Nice.
His name was Matt. So
nice. Okay.
But cool. I'm willing to do that handshake with you guys too. So next time I see you. So. Is Jared, are you in here, Jared? You said you wanted to hop on. You had some weird mail call you got from Bill. Speaking of weird mail calls from Bill, I don't know, Patrick, did you ever play this? Freaking, it's going to be mirrored, but WrestleFest, the old WWF arcade game. Like,
hell yeah.
So I
Dude,
think,
where did you get that?
People think Bill's really nice, and he is really nice, but I'm pretty sure Bill just walked into some old school arcade somewhere and just ripped this off the machine and sent it to me for my birthday. So that's cool. And then one other thing. So D-Chan Pong, I don't know if you're in here, man, but you sent this to me as just a thank you for you just said thank you for Elite basically and all the books you've been able to pick up through buying and selling on our channel. I mean, you guys have heard I love Grimlock. I mean, what the heck? Lucky Devil Comics, if you're watching, I really appreciate you, man. Honestly, it was one of the nicest things I got, completely unexpected and unnecessary. But this is awesome. So thank you for sending this to me. That's Lucky Devil Comics. I think you were in here a minute ago. I don't know if you're still here, but thank you. Lucky Devil Comics, another gem in our community. Thank you very much.
Is that a Transformer? I've never seen that before.
You don't know Grimlock, Max? I guess you definitely were born after 1993 then.
No, I know Optimus Prime.
Max. The funny thing is like Max is like a what's the right word? You're an enigma, dude, right? So he's born well after TV Guide ever existed. But if you want valid and reasonable TV Guide information on Sunday only, Max has it. He's like, he has the information because I think those shows are those shows he watches. Dude, you know Grimlock.
It is.
Bill is right. I did grow up watching Power Rangers, and I always wanted the bad guys to win.
I'll tell you what, guys. I'm going to be honest. Like, there's